Hey folks, Wednesday night was the final 3 on season 12 of American Idol. The ladies had 3 songs each, and they didn't get to choose anything themselves. I thought that was awful. I think at least their last song should have been chosen by them, not because they're great in the song picking department, but at least they would be able to sink or swim based on their own choices. Somebody else picking the songs, that just leaves too much room for sabotage, in my opinion. Especially when you're this close to the end. This, of course, was also the week of the hometown visits, and it also seemed to be play nice at the judges' table week because the judges pretended to love like every performance, even the ones that they obviously didn't like. Anyway, round 1 is songs chosen by Jimmy Iovine. The song Jimmy chose for Cree Harrison was Perfect by Pink, which was not a perfect song choice for Cree by any stretch of the imagination. But I think she needed someone to pick a risky song for her because most of her song choices this season have been pretty blasé. So I think Jimmy was just trying to force her to do something a little bit more exciting than what she's been doing all season, but it didn't work. Cree managed to suck all the energy out of this song, and it felt like a carbon copy of all of her other performances, where she just kind of strolls around on the stage and does the same thing week after week. All season, I've been thinking that Cree was picking boring songs, but maybe it's not the songs that are boring after all. The judges basically said they hated it without actually saying they hated it. Keith said that the song choice proved to him that Cree is a country singer. Nikki said that the quality of Cree's voice is always filled with quality. I guess kind of in the same way that the quality of Nikki's comments are always filled with crap. Couldn't any of these judges just come out and flat out say they didn't like it? Nikki suggested that Cree should try wearing flat boots instead of heels so she could move around more on the stage. Fine time to point that out the week of the top 3, Nicki Minaj. Randy said that he didn't like the song for Cree, it didn't have enough pizzazz for him. It's not the song that had no pizzazz, it was Cree. And Mariah thought that she was holding back and saving the best of Cree for later on. Cree said that she wouldn't have chosen the song for herself, but she had fun. That is always what they say right before they get the axe, that they had fun. Well, what was so fun about it? Let's see. You didn't like the song, you didn't enjoy the performance, you didn't have fun with the performances, and the judges basically didn't like it. Sounds like a great big barrel of fun to me. The song Jimmy chose for Candace Glover was One by U2, also covered by Mary J. Blige, which is clearly why Jimmy picked it. He obviously wanted Candace to be Mary J. Blige Jr. She says that she never heard this song before. I'm not sure if I really believe that. Well, we've seen other people say that this season about songs that they didn't know the song, and then they always seem to get graded on a curve because of that. Like they get extra points just for learning the song. So for me, I kind of felt like it was her way of saying, okay, this isn't going to be my greatest performance, but here's why. She said that she looked at the lyrics first so she could get what the song was about. Was I the only one that felt like that was a jab at Amber Holcomb? No, I thought it was a pretty solid, forgettable performance. It was better than Cree's, but still nothing to write home about. Candace could have done well to lose about 10 pounds of that jewelry, though, and that shirt that she was wearing, it looked like a snow leopard exploded on her chest. Nikki said that she did the song justice. She said it felt like she was at her show, and then she asked her if she ever thought she would make it to the top 3. And Candace was a little bit hesitant to answer, and I can't say I blame her for that because it's almost like a trick question. No matter how you answer, you're going to tick off certain people regardless. I mean, if she said yes, she thought she would make it to the top 3, oh, she's too cocky to be the next American Idol. And if she said no, she didn't think she would make it to the top 3, then she's not confident enough to win, so it's a lose-lose situation, so I don't blame her for kind of pleading the fifth. Randy said that everything wasn't perfect, but that the emotion was on point. Mariah can't believe that Candace ever did anything other than singing for a living. She could tell that Candace wasn't crazy about the song choice, though. And Keith said that he felt every bit of it. And the song Jimmy picked for Angie Miller was Sorry Seems to Be the Hardest Word. Clearly he picked this song for Piano Angie and not Standing Angie, but Standing Angie is the one that showed up to sing it. Standing Angie did a really good job with it, though. It probably was one of my least favorite Elton John songs, even though I love Elton John, so I wasn't jumping out of my seat at the song choice. I'm a little surprised, though, that Jimmy didn't give her one of Elton's Disney songs, since she sounds like something straight out of a Disney movie. She turned it pretty much made it sound like a Disney song anyway. It was good, though. The judges made quite a big deal about Angie not playing piano, since that's obviously what Jimmy was gunning for. With his song choice. They act like this was the first time that she's ever got up from the piano. I mean, she usually does not play piano, and so it's not like she was taking a risk by not playing it. I just don't think she's very comfortable on the piano, not like they make her out to be. I mean, they act like she's Beethoven reanimated, but if you've noticed, she usually only plays songs on the piano when the theme is open enough so that she can pick a song that she learned way before she was ever on the show, and almost all of them that she's played piano on are fairly unknown songs, so maybe she just isn't that great on the piano as the judges think that she should be. Randy thought she did a great job holding back. He really liked it even though he sounded like he didn't. Mariah thought it was one of Angie's best performances. Keith would have been happy hearing Angie hold back even more. He probably would have complained about that though if she had. And Nikki said that it was a stellar vocal, but it didn't hit her emotionally like she wanted it to. Jimmy called round 1 for Angie, and I can't say I disagree with that. I didn't love any of them though. Round 2 was Judges' Choice and Hometown Visits. Now, I personally am not convinced that the judges actually did pick these songs. You know, it used to be each judge would pick a song, but since there's more judges than contestants, and they didn't say which judges actually picked what, we're supposed to believe that they actually got together and picked these songs? Not a chance. They barely even talk to each other unless they're hurling insults at each other, so we know that didn't happen. Anyway, first up for round 2 was Candace Glover. Candace almost got rained out of her hometown visit. Well, there was a 70% chance of rain, but apparently God cleared everything up just for her. I just gotta say, Candace was not lying when she was talking about that island dialect back several weeks ago. The people there sounded more Jamaican than South Carolinian. Everybody except Candace's mom, who sounded just like Sweet Brown. I went to get me a cold pop, and there was Candace Glover. Well, that's not exactly what she said, but in my mind, that's what I heard. Anyway, the song that the judges chose for Candace was Next to Me by Emily Sandé. I had no idea who that person is, so this was a new song for me. I quite liked it though. I gotta say though, the performance was a whole lot better than the pants because from the waist down, Candace Glover looked like a zebra. The judges liked it, I think, but they talked more about the hometown visit than they did about the performance, which was the norm. Mariah thought that Candace was rejuvenated from her hometown visit, and she thought her performance was A+ amazing. Mariah and her A+ amazings. Keith said that it started out like a straight-up clear confession about her man. Well, all right then, Keith Urban. Nikki said that Candace has come out swinging, and she pretended like she was getting choked up. Nobody's buying it, Crocodile Minaj. And Randy gave kudos to the judges for picking that song for her. Next up is Angie Miller. Apparently, Angie's brother has decided to transform into Sasquatch while she's on the show. Well, he isn't shaving his face until it's all over. I don't know what he'll do if she loses. Maybe he'll never shave again. People do weird stuff, don't they? He wasn't the only furry creature that Angie was excited about seeing, though. She was excited to go home and see her cat Fluffy, who looks a lot like my cat Cleo. And then, of course, Angie rounded up all her giddy friends into the limo, and they went to her old school where she went to kindergarten, and she got her very own crying girl. Anyway, the song that the judges picked for Angie was Try by Pink. Second Pink song of the night, and I guess I gotta give her props for not draining the energy out of the song like Cree did with her Pink song, but it sounded like she kept running out of airs. Wasn't terrible, but it wasn't terrific either. Keith commended her for not playing the piano. Once again, Keith, she usually doesn't. And then why would she play piano on this song out of all songs? I don't know what they're talking about. Nikki told Keith to stay out of her head. Yuck, I don't even want to picture that in my head. She said that Angie has never looked more comfortable doing an up-tempo song, and she says that Angie is Miley Cyrus's long-lost twin. Randy said that a good friend of his wrote that song. How many good friends does this dude have? And he says that Angie is in it to win it, and Mariah concurs. But she usually does, doesn't she? And the last from round 2 was Cree Harrison, of course. Cree seemed to be a little bit bored throughout most of her homecoming. Of course, maybe I was just bored watching it. She never really seems too awful excited about anything, does she? It was super duper sad, though, when she went to visit her old house that she grew up in with her parents. I don't know if it'll be enough to pull in the votes, but it sure was sad. The song that the judges gave her was Here Comes Goodbye by Rascal Flatts. Well, that don't feel like a sabotage song choice, does it? It's like they're predicting her to go home or something. No, Cree did a decent job with this song, but for this round, they aren't being judged based on their performances. They're being judged based on their homecoming trips. And so her trip to her childhood home won this round for her, hands down. Nikki said that it was one of her best performances to date because she felt every word. Randy Jackson said this is one of the best top 3s ever on the show, but he says that every year, don't he? And Mariah said, no matter what happens from here, you will always have this. That sounded like goodbye. And Keith thought it was the perfect song choice, and she had him from beginning to end. And the final round, round 3, songs picked by the producers. First up was Angie Miller. The song the producers picked for her was Maybe, another song by this Emily character that I've never heard of. And Angie sat at the piano for this performance, though I'm not sure how much she actually played it, since her hands was flailing up in the air throughout most of the song. I didn't like it, mainly because I didn't know the song, so I didn't have anything to compare it to. I thought it was funny, though, that Cree and Angie both kind of had a goodbye song. Maybe it's time to go is how the song ended. I didn't think this was bad enough to send Angie packing, but maybe it will be. Randy said you sang your heart out. He thinks Angie has become a complete performer over the course of one night. Mariah agreed with Randy as always. She says she had nothing negative to say. Of course, she usually doesn't, does she? Keith suggested that next week Angie should sing under their piano. Ooh, Keith has a crush on Angie. And Nikki said that Angie's growth has surpassed her expectations. Next up, Cree Harrison again. The song the producers picked for her was Better Dig 2 by the band Perry. Oh my God, could they have picked a more inappropriate song for Cree Harrison to sing this week? I mean, her last segment was all about the death of her parents. And then, not 5 minutes later, she's forced to come out and sing, I'm gonna tell the gravedigger that he better dig too? I thought that was just not well thought out at all. I did think this was the better of her three performances, but the song choice was in such poor taste. The judges weren't crazy about it. Mariah doesn't really like the wild side of Cree. She says she likes the sorrow more than the anger. Keith didn't like the song choice for her. He didn't think it felt right. And no, it didn't feel right. The song just didn't feel right for Cree at all. Nikki said that whoever picked that song should be stoned. They must have been stoned when they picked it. Randy said that the song was too ordinary for her, but she did her thing. Once again, she said that she had fun, and those are always the famous last words. And the last of the night was Candace Glover. The song the producers picked for her was Somewhere, a tired 50-something-year-old show tune. And so on paper, I was really expecting to hate it, but Candace made me change my mind. She sang the daylights out of that song. That was the performance of somebody that desperately wants to win. And with that, Candace got all 50 of my online votes, and even a handful of over-the-phone votes. It got the only standing ovation of the night. I was starting to think there for a while that maybe somebody had poured super glue into the judges' chairs, because usually they get up at least 3 or 4 times for a standing ovation during the night, but this time they only gave one, but that one deserved it though. Keith said if you want to vote for Candace, dial the number on your screen. If you don't want to vote for Candace, call your doctor because you probably don't have a pulse. If you don't have a pulse, you don't need a doctor, do you? You better dig too. Randy called it one of the greatest vocals in Idol history, and Mariah said it was her parents' song, so she gave it an A+ amazing, which is just a step above her #bow. So round 3 clearly goes to Candace. But who's going to go home? I think it could be anybody. Probably Cree, but maybe we'll finally get a surprise in this predictable old season. I really hope it is Cree going home, though, because I just don't think that she would win a head-to-head contest with Candace or Angie, and I want a finale where it feels like it's anybody's game. And so I hope Cree goes home. It could be anybody, though. Maybe Cree had enough votes from her hometown package. Maybe enough people felt sorry for her to vote for her. I don't know. It shouldn't be Candace. I think Angie's popular enough so that it won't be her. Maybe they'll try to pull a surprise and give us a 3-way finale and not send anybody home this week. That wouldn't surprise me either. Well, because the other singing shows have 3-way finales, and you know how they are trying to copy the worst parts of the other shows, so be surprised by nothing. Anyway, that's it for now. Let me know who you thought was the best of the night, who you think's going home, and I'll see you folks next time.